Imagine you're walking through a supermarket. Hundreds of products surround you, dozens of brands, thousands of colors, different prices, different promises, yet somehow within just a few seconds, you reach for one product. You barely think about it. It feels like your decision, but was it? Now imagine meeting someone for the very first time. Within moments, your brain whispers, "Illicathysburn," or "something feels off." No evidence, no deep conversation, just a feeling. Again, it feels like your own judgment. But what if I told you that many of the decisions you proudly call your choices were made before you were even aware of them? Every single day, your brain makes thousands of decisions. Most of them happen without your permission, without your awareness, without your conscious mind ever getting involved. And to do that, your brain uses something incredibly powerful and incredibly dangerous: mental shortcuts. These shortcuts save your life, they save your time, but they also fool you. They make you judge people unfairly, spend money you didn't plan to spend, believe things that aren't true, and sometimes they become the reason behind the biggest mistakes of your life. So here's the real question. If your brain is taking shortcuts all day, how many of your decisions are actually yours? Your brain is the most powerful machine on earth. Your heart is beating, your lungs are breathing, your eyes are adjusting to light. Your ears are filtering sounds, your muscles are balancing your body. At the same time, your brain is processing millions of pieces of information. Every single second. The texture of your clothes, the temperature the pressure beneath your feet, the sounds in the background, the expressions on people's faces, the movement of every object around you. Imagine if your conscious mind had to analyze every single detail, you wouldn't survive a single day. Making breakfast would take hours. Crossing a road would become impossible. Even choosing what to wear would completely exhaust you. So evolution found a smarter solution. Instead of thinking deeply about everything, your brain created shortcuts. Fast, automatic, efficienter, known as heuristics. Think of them as mental autopilot. Most of the time, they help you make quick decisions without wasting energy, but every shortcut comes with a cost. The faster your brain works, the more likely it is to make mistakes. Why your brain hates? Thinking here's something surprising. Your brain weighs only about 3 pounds, yet it consumes around 20% of your body's energy. That's an enormous amount for such a small organ. Thinking is expensive. Every difficult decision, every calculation, every new problem requires energy, and your brain loves saving energy whenever it can. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack all day. Whenever you find an easier path, you'll naturally take it. Your brain behaves the same way. If there's a shortcut, it takes it, not because it's lazy, because that's how it has been programmed by evolution. For thousands of years, saving energy meant increasing your chances of survival. The forest experiment. Let's travel back thousands of years.
Question: what's the fastest answer? Not. What's the perfect answer? That's why mental shortcuts can be incredibly useful and incredibly dangerous. If everyone is doing it, it must be right. Imagine walking past 2 restaurants. One is almost empty. The other has a long line stretching outside without thinking. Which one do you feel like entering? Most people choose the crowded one, not because they've tasted the food, but because the crowd becomes evidence. Your brain says, so many people can't be wrong. This shortcut is called social proof, thousands of years ago. Following the group often kept our ancestors alive. If everyone ran in one direction, you ran too. Stopping to ask questions could be fatal. That same instinct influences everything: the clothes you wear, the apps you download, the creators you follow, the opinions you believe. Popularity often feels like proof. Popularity and truth are not the same thing. History is full of ideas that millions believed until they were proven completely wrong. The first number wins. Imagine you're buying a jacket. The original price says $300. Right below it, a huge red tag says, now only $120. Suddenly, it feels like an incredible deal. But ask yourself, would you still feel the same excitement if you had only seen $120? Probably not. That's because your brain has been anchored. The first number becomes a reference point. Everything after it feels cheaper. Advertisers know this. Negotiators know this. Even online stores know this, and your brain falls for it. Again and again, without realizing it. The stories you remember feel more true. Imagine watching the news. You hear about a plane crash. It's emotional, shocking, unforgettable. The next time you think about flying, it suddenly feels dangerous. But here's the reality. Statistically, driving is far more dangerous than flying. So why does flying feel scarier? Because your brain remembers dramatic stories more easily than boring statistics. Psychologists call this the availability heuristic. Your brain judges reality based on what comes to mind first, not on what's actually most likely. That's why one frightening headline can outweigh years of evidence. It's not because you're irrational. It's because your brain prefers memorable stories over invisible numbers. Your brain hates losing. Now imagine two situations. In the first, someone offers you $100. In the second, someone takes $100 away from you. The amount is the same. But which one feels stronger? For most people, losing hurts far more than winning feels good. This is called loss aversion. Your brain treats losses like emergencies. It reacts more intensely to losing something than to gaining the exact same thing. This explains why people hold on to bad investments, stay in unhealthy relationships, refuse to admit mistakes. Walking away feels like losing, and your brain hates losing, sometimes so much that it chooses even greater pain instead. Familiar feels safe. Have you ever heard a song for the first time and thought it was just average? Then, after hearing it several times, you suddenly loved it. That's not an accident. It's called the mere exposure effect. The more often your brain sees something, the more comfortable it becomes. Comfort starts feeling like trust. That's why companies show the same advertisements repeatedly, why famous logos stay in your memory, why familiar faces often seem more trustworthy. Your brain quietly mistakes familiarity for quality, but something being familiar doesn't automatically make it good. When shortcuts become traps mental. Shortcuts are amazing tools. Without them, you couldn't function, but here's the danger. The modern world has learned how to use your shortcuts against you. Advertisements are designed around them. Social media algorithms depend on them. Political campaigns understand them. Even scammers study them. Because once someone knows how your brain makes quick decisions, they can influence those decisions without you ever noticing, and that's exactly why awareness matters. The illusion of independent thinking. Most of us like to believe, I'm an independent thinker. I make my own choices. I decide for myself. But if you pause for a moment, how many of your opinions came from careful research? And how many came from repetition, from headlines, friends, family, the internet, or social media? Your brain doesn't just absorb information, it absorbs patterns. The more often it hears something, the more familiar it becomes, and the more familiar it becomes, the more believable it feels. Truth isn't always what you've heard the most. Sometimes it's what you've questioned the most. By now, you've discovered that your brain relies on invisible shortcuts every single day. Some help you survive, some save time, and some quietly lead you toward poor decisions without you ever realizing it. But here's the most important question of all. If your brain is designed to take shortcuts, can you ever become truly objective? Can you train your mind to slow down, question its assumptions, and see reality more clearly? The answer is yes. Imagine waking up tomorrow and suddenly being able to hear every decision your brain makes before you make it. You walk into a cafe. Your brain whispers, "Sit over there. It looks safer." You meet someone new. Your brain says, "They seem trustworthy." You open your phone. A headline appears. Your brain instantly declares, "That must be true." No evidence, no investigation, just an instant conclusion. Now, imagine hearing thousands of these whispers every single day. It would be overwhelming. The strange part is, That's exactly what's already happening. The only difference is that you usually don't hear the whispers. You only experience the decisions. And that's why the most dangerous shortcuts are the ones you never notice. The world is competing for your attention every day. Thousands of companies fight for one thing, not your money, not your time, your attention. Because once they have your attention, your brain starts taking shortcuts. Bright colors, breaking news, limited time offers. Only 2 items left. Millions of people already bought this. Every one of these messages is carefully designed, not to make you think more, but to make you think less. Your brain loves easy answer, and modern technology knows exactly how to provide them. That's why scrolling for 5 minutes often turns into an hour. Why one short video becomes 20. Why you open your phone to check the time and somehow forget why you picked it up in the first place. Your brain followed the easiest path without asking if it was the right one, the comfort trap. Here's another shortcut your brain uses. It confuses comfort with safety. Imagine 2 jobs. One is familiar but makes you unhappy. The other is exciting but uncertain. Most people stay where they are, not because it's better, because it's predictable. The brain often chooses familiar discomfort over unfamiliar possibility. The same thing happens in relationship, habits, dreams, even beliefs. Sometimes the biggest thing holding you back isn't fear of failure. It's a comfort of staying the same. Your first thought is not your final truth. A thought appears, I'm not good enough. I'll embarrass myself. They're probably judging me. Most people stop there. Tung-dung. Hey, accept the thought. They build emotions around it. Then they build decisions around those emotions. But what if you interrupted the process instead of say I? This thought is true. You asked, where did this thought come from? Was it based on evidence? Or was it simply another shortcut? That single question changes everything, because the moment you question an automatic thought, you stop being controlled by it. Awareness is a superpower. Imagine watching a movie. You become so absorbed that you forget you're sitting in a theater. For two hers, the story feels real. Then the lights come on. Suddenly, you remember, it was only a movie. Awareness works the same way. Most people live inside their thoughts, without realizing they're just thoughts. Awareness turns the lights. It reminds you that your mind creates stories. Some are useful, some are misleading, and some should never be believed. The brain can change for centuries. People believed personality was fixed, that the brain was permanent. Science tells a different story. Your brain is constantly changing. Every habit strengthens a neural pathway. Every repeated thought becomes easier to think again. This ability is called neuroplasticity. It means your brain is always learning, whether you realize it or not. Every time you pause before reacting, you're training your mind. Every time you challenge an assumption, you're rewiring your brain. Every time you choose curiosity over certainty, you're becoming a different person. Not overnight, but one decision at a time. The power of slowing down. The fastest decision isn't always the smartest. Some of the greatest mistakes in history happened because people reacted instead of reflecting. The best leaders, the best scientists, the best thinkers share one habit. They pause. They gather evidence. They ask difficult questions, and they aren't afraid to admit, I might be wrong. Ironically, the people who think the slowest iften make the fastest progress in life because they spend less time fixing avoidable mistakes. A simple practice tomorrow. Try one experiment. The next time your brain makes an instant judgment, don't fight it. Just notice it. If your mind says, I can't do this, notice it. If it says, they don't like me, notice it. If it says, this will never work, notice it. You don't have to argue with every thought. You don't have to believe every thought either. Simply observing it creates distance. And in that distance, wisdom begins. The final lesson, your brain is extraordinary. It can imagine worlds that don't exist, solve impossible problems, create art, build civilizations. But it also takes shortcuts, not because it's broken, because it's trying to protect you. The challenge is, the modern world is very different from the one your brain evolved in. The same shortcuts that once helped your ancestors survive can now lead to poor decisions, false assumptions, and unnecessary fear. The goal isn't to eliminate those shortcuts. You can't. The goal is to recognize them because awareness gives you something evolution never promised. Choice, ending. Why does your brain take shortcuts? Because speed once meant survival, but today, wisdom often requires something different. It requires slowing down, questioning your first impression, looking beyond appearances, and remembering that not every thought deserves your trust. The next time your mind whispers, "This is obvious," pause. Ask one more question, because the biggest breakthroughs in human history didn't happen when people accepted the first answer. They happened when someone dared to doubt it, and maybe the next breakthrough won't happen in a laboratory. It will happen inside your own mind, the moment you stop living on autopilot and start thinking with intention. Thank you for watching. If this video changed the way you think, share it with someone who believes every thought that crosses their mind. Because understanding the world begins with understanding the one place you'll spend your entire life.